It's very good to have the presentation after Daniel and Diane. I think they have laid a very good foundation about the the thinking about teaching and learning, and also the T5 models. Though I have not included their thinkings directly into my PowerPoint, but I hope that actually what I'm going to share about in some way reflect their thinkings about the learning that we see this more from the teaching and learning arrangement. We'll be seeing more from the student's perspective of how the student be the major actor in the learning, and surely the teacher will surely have a role to play, and the planning of the teacher will be also very important. Now, what I want to share today is about actually it's not so much a theoretical kind of a study on the use of portfolios in teaching and learning. I hope to share more my personal experience in using portfolios in the teaching and learning in some of the law courses that I'm responsible. That in the law faculty of the Hong Kong U, that I have taught different levels of courses. So some are for non-law major students, some are for law major, some are compulsory course for law major, some are kind of electives for law major, and also for at the master level for non-law major students. So kind of different experience, and also I've used the portfolios just by myself as the only teacher, but also in courses where there are collaboration among teachers. So the different experience of that actually caused me to see portfolio, or the use of portfolio in teaching and learning, it caused me to reflect more how to make the portfolio use a more effective. I think I need not elaborate a lot about this, some kind of basic education philosophies like a constructive alignment, John Brick's ideas of your teaching method, your teaching objectives and the assessments need to be aligned. And also I need not elaborate very much on the deep approach of learning that we encourage and hope that our students will be able to kind of adopt a deep approach rather than a surface approach of learning. But just very interesting that just a few weeks ago that our faculty has our faculty retreat, and I was responsible for one of the sessions to talk about teaching and learning. But interestingly that some of my colleagues, for their whole life, the first time they have come across this term called deep learning, and constructive alignment. Also, there's something very new to them. That does say, now maybe we have a lot of teachers that they are actually teaching. I'm not saying that they are not good teachers, that you do not need to know the term of constructive alignment and deep learning, but you are actually doing such a thing. But just that there's a kind of situation that there may be many university teachers, they are actually teaching for a long time, and they may be a very effective teacher, but they may not be very exposed to the kind of literature in education. Now again, that may not tell us a lot of things, but at least that the way they see teaching and learning may be limited by their lack of exposure to education literature. So when I talk about or shared about the use of portfolio, and again some of my colleagues find that there's something totally new to them, that how you can use portfolio in the teaching and learning in law. Now I kind of defined portfolio for educational purposes with all these 12 different elements. And as I hear to Daniel and Diane's presentations, I find many elements are actually in their ideas about teaching and learning. So what is a portfolio used for educational purposes? That is a collection of student work. So we are looking at the student work, and also not just their end results, but also their self-reflection of their learning. I think that's we want to see that the student reflect. We want to see the students reflect on their learning through some kind of teaching arrangement, some kind of teaching and learning tools, and portfolio is such a kind of tool. And in the learning of a subject, course, program, so portfolios have been used at different levels. So portfolio could be used just for one particular project, one particular task, or it could be a collection of all the work of the students in the whole course, or maybe even in the whole program. So it could be used at various levels. And exhibiting the students' effort as well as achievement. So when we look at a portfolio, we will not just look at the end products, but also from the portfolio we can see how much effort the students have put into the learning process. And that's an important concept, is a process itself. So it is an ongoing process and complied by the student. So it is a very student-based tool. If you use a portfolio in your teaching and learning, actually you have already accepted that the major actor of the learning is not so much from the teacher, but actually is the student. With a high level of freedom, I think this should be emphasized, is the freedom enjoyed by students in a portfolio learning process, and to select what should be included and how they should be organized. So how students could use or develop their portfolio, what should be included, and why they should be included, and how they should be organized. But don't see that the teacher will have no role, because the teacher will have to provide the criteria for the student to comply with. Though the student will still enjoy a lot of freedom in the learning process. And I think again that's linked with the Web 2.0 or the Learning 2.0 idea. This is a mutual interaction and discussion between the student and the teacher about the learning process. Now maybe some of you, if you have used portfolio in your teaching and learning, you may have a different definition from mine. But that's just that I'm kind of reading through different literature on portfolio, and also my personal experience of using portfolio, that I try to include all these elements in the portfolio, in the use of portfolio in teaching and learning. Now, as we are talking about Web 2.0, so how the being E, adding an E before the portfolio, what additional educational values that we can put to the portfolio, that a e-portfolio, I define it here as a web-based and also database-driven system, and which could accept materials in different electronic formats and allow materials to be hyperlinked. So that's the different from the more traditional form of portfolio. But the being an electronic portfolio, that will add more kind of educational values that I will explain. Now then, how can portfolio enhance learning? So these are several concepts that I think again in line with what Daniel and Diane has just mentioned about the freedom of the student, enjoyed by the student, and their awareness, their self-awareness that they are a learner. And they are playing this active role in the learning. And in some way, if you use the portfolio in learning, students will be forced, sometimes students are not willing to adopt a more active learning strategies. I think for those who teach in Hong Kong or maybe in Taiwan, we may be very familiar with the experience that students, they may prefer a much more passive way of learning. So in some way, they may have to be forced. And later I'll share some of my experience that in order to force them, you have some cost to pay. And you may have to adjust some kind of strategies to make that force imposed upon students. They will still, at the beginning, they may find unwelcome, but at the end, they may find it valuable to have this force imposed upon them. And then this will encourage them to be more sensitive, because they are required to be a much more active actor in the learning process. And so they have to be more sensitive to the methods of learning and also the limitation of the methods. And the whole process of using portfolio allow the students to reflect, review, and revise. I think these are a very important and quite different from other ways of teaching and learning, other tools available for teaching and learning.